All right, ready to go? All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth annual, believe it or not, French Open / Roland Garros $500 cash giveaway competition, as well as the $100 fantasy team competition. We always have done a video for rules and entries. And the other night we mentioned on one of our live shows the rules and entries there. We realized that A, we made one little mistake, and B, it would be harder for our two people, that is Gene Swart in South Africa and Thomas Chi in Canada, to keep up with everything if everyone was going back and forth between regular comments and comments for this on a particular video. So don't let me confuse you. So this will be the video in which all entries and all fantasy teams will be put. And that's all we're going to talk about in this video. It will be brief. So hopefully I don't take much of your time. Okay. So we mentioned in a previous live show the same thing, but I made a mistake. So if you're playing it for the first time, definitely pay attention to this video. Okay. The only requirement for playing both games, the fantasy team competition and the $500 cash giveaway, is to be subscribed. It's free. No other questions asked. Okay. Any changes that are to be made to your fantasy team or to your $500 cash predictions must be done prior to the first ball being struck when the first rounds of the French Open begins. Okay. If you have selected a player that drops out, in other words, the draws come out, they're in the draw, all of a sudden that player draws out or pulls out of the draw, you will get the lucky loser, meaning the player that they substitute you with, unless you catch it prior to the first ball being struck and or Gene Swart and Thomas Chi catching it and letting you know about it as well. A lot of people play, so they do their best to check, and if lucky losers happen, that they'll try to reach you in comments to make sure that you correct that, but they don't catch everybody. Okay, so pay attention to your lucky losers. All teams must be submitted in the comment section of this video. Okay, so if you are playing, we will see your teams. All of us can see your teams here, because a lot of people like to talk a little smack. They like to look at other people's teams. If three people are tied for first place, they'll go look for the team and they'll be like, geez, that guy's got Halep and Andreescu, and I just have Andreescu. So I hope Halep loses, that type of thing. Okay. So all teams must be submitted, and the $500 predictions must be submitted in this video alone. Okay. All right. So here are the rules. Here's the rules for the $500 cash giveaway competition. Pretty simple. To win $500 in cash, if you predict the men's final and the women's final and both winners, you win. Okay. So let's say I predict Rafael Nadal is going to meet Novak Djokovic in the final and Rafael Nadal wins. And let's say on the women's side, I say Simona Halep is going to play Osaka. I'm just making up a name. Anyway, and I say Osaka won and I hit that, I would win $500. But if I miss one of those, then I'm out. Matt Cain in London was the last person to win at that point in time, it was a tennis racket or 250. He selected. It was a tennis racket. Yeah. No, it was not. But he was the last person to do it. So hopefully Matt Cain is well out there. It can be done. You'll just have to, hope for a little bit of luck and do a little bit of research. Okay, simple enough. But what happens if there's a tie? If there is a tie, and sorry that I had the volume turned up on the speakers. If there is a tie, meaning if three people predict the same finalists and the same winners, and you tie, we break the tie with the fantasy team competition. Now, you do not have to play the fantasy team competition. If you don't have time to look at the draws and look everything up, I understand. You do not have to play it. But again, if someone else ties you for the $500 and they have a fantasy team, even if it's horrible, they're going to beat you because they have a team and you didn't. But again, you do not have to play the fantasy teams. It does take a little bit of research. Okay. The top two winners of the fantasy team competition, the top two, will receive $50 each. Okay. And by the way, we do have some 5K tennis merchandise that came in. So we have 5K tennis hat in green, snapback, trucker hat. Oh, you hold that. We have it in pink, like Carla has on. We have it in red, We have it in gray and red. We have it in blue, like I have on as well. And then we have it in that chartreuse kind of bright yellow. So if for some reason you want a 5K tennis hat and $25 or something, then we can make that happen. Hold on, let me set these down. I'm getting dirty. Okay. So again, the top 2 fantasy team winners will receive $50 each. Or again, if you want 2 hats, we sell them for $25 each, by the way. So if you want a 5K tennis hat, let me know, and we can get one shipped to you. Okay, so the fantasy team rules are this. You must select a total of 9 men and 9 women, okay? 9 men and 9 women. So you'll have 2 teams. You'll have a men's team and you'll have a women's team, all right? You can only have a maximum of 4 men and 4 women seated within the top 20, okay? Pay attention to the word seated, though, because, for instance, right now I looked up that I forget what player it was, but Simona Halep. I looked up that Simona Halep right now was ranked in the WTA rankings number 21 in the world. But be careful because she might come in as the 18 seed or 16 seed, bless you, because she's won it before. So just because she's ranked in the world 21 does not mean she'll come in seated over 20. So watch out for that, okay? So 9 men, 9 women. You can only have a maximum of 4 men and 4 women on your teams that are seated within the top 20. Okay, maximum of 4. Okay, you don't have to pick a total of 4. You don't have to pick anyone seated in the top 20 if you want. Anyway, those players are worth 1 point per match win. Okay, so if let's say Djokovic wins a match and you pick him on your team, you win 1 point for every match he wins. Okay, now you can have as many players as you wish. You can have your whole team filled, or at least 8 of them, filled with players that are seated outside of the top 20, okay? They are worth 2 points per match win. So players, maximum of 4 on each team, top 20 seated, they're worth 1 point per match win. Players seated outside of the top 20, and you can have as many of them as you want, are worth 2 points per match win. So think the strategy here. Sometimes a 2-point player that goes 4 rounds will make more points than a 1-point player did if they make the semifinals. So understand the strategy there. And a lot of our winners in the past have done so, right? There is one caveat, though, at your 9th player on each team. So you must have 1 man or 1 woman that is a qualifier or a wild card. So your 9th player is either going to be a wild card or a qualifier. So you'll have to wait till qualies is over, which starts a week prior to the tournament beginning. And either pick one of the qualifiers that makes it into the main draw or a wild card that makes it into the main draw. And that player is worth 3 points per match win. So if you pick a solid qualifier, a solid wild card, and they're winning multiple rounds at 3 points a pop, maybe Wawrinka, he might get a wild card, someone like that, right? Your qualifier or wild card player is a very, very solid player to pick on your fantasy teams, because that person can get you a lot of free points. Okay. And I was going to mention strategy, and I'll move forward. Most of the big hitters that play this fantasy team, Stefan Nizovic, Gene Swartz, and Philip Berkowitz, Philly Cheese Dog. There's a lot of you that are heavy hitting players. A lot of you don't pick a lot of 1-point players. You pick like maybe 1 or 2, Nadal, Djokovic, and then go with people that are seeded for your remaining players outside of your 1 wild card or qualifier, 2-point players, because you're getting more points per match win, right? Okay, so I made an example real quickly of a pencil whipped. I didn't do any research. Obviously, the draws aren't out, but I did 2 teams. I did my men's team and women's team in case you are wanting an example. By the way, when you put your picks in the comments, try to help out Gene Swart and Thomas Chi, who wrote a computer program, by the way, keeping up, how to keep up with the scores. So, and they both check each other's homework, so it comes out right. Try to organize it for them a little bit in your comment section. Write your 1-point players in a group, write your 2-point players in a group, and then write your 1 3-point wild card or qualifier man or woman separately if you can. All right, so here's an example of a team that I picked without looking. Okay, on the men's side, 1-point players: Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, Carlos Alcaraz. Those would have been my hypothetical 1-point players. My 2-point players would have been Denis Shapovalov, Riley Opelka, Gal Monfils, Ugo Humbert, and Benoit Paire. My wild card, again, I don't know. We don't know who the wild cards are, but I'm guessing Wawrinka will be a wild card. I'm guessing. So he would be my 3-point player. So 1-point players up top, the 2-point players in the middle, and the 3-point player on the bottom. Okay, so here's an example of a hypothetical women's team. 1-point players, Iga Swiatek, Barbara Krejcikova, and Simona Halep. Now, Halep could be a 2-point player because Halep is ranked number 21 in the world, but given that she's a previous champion, she may come in seated higher. So she may end up being seated above or below 21. So Halep could be a 2-point player. So that's where you have to be careful. Felix Auger-Aliassime used to be that way. He would always be ranked number 21 in the world, and sometimes he would come in at the 18 seed, and then people would realize it and they would drop him because they didn't want to keep him for 1 point only, right? Okay, the women's team, Swiatek, Krejcikova, Halep, 1-point players. Again, Halep could end up being a 2. I put Naomi Osaka would be a 2-point player. Andreescu, 2-point player. Martic, 2-point player. Garcia, 2-point player. And you can just throw another one out there. I accidentally only wrote 4. Just give me a name in the top 20 to 50. Kvitova. Okay, she'd be a 2-point player, right? Okay, and then I know she's not playing. I know Serena Williams isn't playing. But, hey, if she was given a wild card, I would take her for 3 points because she'd probably win you a match or 2, right? So that's kind of an example. Anyway, that's the rules of the games. If you have any questions, please in comments, let us know. The moderators for this are Gene Swart and Thomas Chi, both of them fine young men, Canada, South Africa, respectively. And they have played it for a long time, and they finally came to us and said, hey, we're pretty tech savvy. And if we write a computer program, can we do the scoring and so forth? And they have taken it from there. So they created the software. We created the game 4 years ago. And it's a really fun game. People love to get involved. People love to come home and check their matches, and they come on the comments and be like, hey, yo, Alex, or hey, Jose P. They'll be like, oh, I got the same players you do, but you have Dimitrov and I have Shapovalov. We're going, and they're playing next. And, they start looking forward to those matchups, right? Same thing on the $500 cash giveaway, man. It makes you want to go watch it. If you guess the finalists and both winners, you're getting $500 US money sent to you as soon as that happens, right? Again, unless there's a tie, the fantasy team breaks it. So remember to subscribe. Without subscribing, it's the only thing you need to do to qualify. So do that. Much love. If I've missed anything, if you have any questions, put it in comments now. I don't think the first balls will be struck until the 22nd of May. And it is the 13th, Friday the 13th. Interesting. I'm not superstitious though. But any comments, questions, anything, put them here. And then either myself, Carly here, and the new pink 5K hat, or Gene Swart or Thomas Chi will do our best to answer them as soon as possible. But that's it. Do you think I missed anything?
No, you got it.
Good luck, players. It's a heck of a fun time. And it'll be great. I wanted to show you guys one last thing. So I'm a sneakerhead. Carla has known this for a very long time. I used to have shoes stacked up in my room, like up the walls, and I wouldn't even ever wear them. I was very lucky to get these Rafa Nadal Doorbecker cage shoes, but it's actually in support of the Doorbecker School, which is for challenged kids with injuries, with deformities, and so forth. So there is a wheelchair player, and it's Maylee Phillips. And one of the children there designed a shoe, and it launched, and I was lucky enough to score a pair. So I probably won't wear these, but I'm going to show them to you. So without further ado, so I open it up. Hold that for me. I got my watch the keyboard. You're going to knock it down. Getting impatient over there. So here's the authenticity card. Okay, and here comes the shoe. Okay, pretty good. Pretty rocking front. There she is on the front, wheelchair tennis. Okay. Bottoms. Other side. Back. Okay, so a pretty cool deal. Really proud to have them. And there were only very few pairs of these, so I was really lucky to get them. So I'm pretty stoked about them. All right. Anyway, much love. And again, happy playing and the best of luck to all of you. We look forward to competing with you. All right. See ya.
See you guys.
Go ahead. You can end it. Peace.